So there have been some big updates recently for the reMarkable Paper Pro and the reMarkable 2, and I'm going to walk through them, specifically shapes, but there are some things I still think that they need to upgrade with the shapes. And then we have some other neat features which I'll walk through as well after that. So let's get into it. Now the shape feature is in beta, so I have it updated already here. But if you were to go and do it, you have to sign up for the reMarkable kind of beta software, which you can do under advanced here, and then reMarkable beta program. I'm already enrolled. So now I'll check for an update, and you can see it's downloading the 3.17062. So that'll get updated, but I have it already installed here, so we can kind of walk through that. And having this grid pattern is kind of nice. So you can see I already did some shapes here. So I can still create a line, right? But if I then hold less time and already move like that and hold, it'll snap to a triangle. And then you can rescale. So you can go like this, and then you can, move it, you can pivot it. You can also, so let's do a circle now. So if I do a little circle, I can also just rescale it immediately. And you can also do ovals like that. If you guys don't know, there's an absolute legend on Reddit who was basically uploading drawings of circles every day until reMarkable updated it. So my thoughts are maybe they were already working on this because that seems like a pretty fast implementation time. But I think this is maybe like a new light for reMarkable in the sense that they're listening to users on Reddit, which is something that they typically haven't really done. They kind of tread their own course, but it's really nice to see. And one of the other features that is, I think, also stemmed from Reddit, because I saw someone post about this, like a feature update request and kind of some tips they thought. But you can see now we have color kind of showing on the Paper Pro. But you can see here, you can now, when you do a color, so let's go with like magenta, that will show in the marker tool. And that's just incredibly useful if you have multiple like different colors and multiple different pen types, then to remember what that is super useful. I still think there's room for improvement on the shapes though. So for example, this is the VWoods AI paper. This I created with shapes. So it's had it for a while now, but you can actually create complex shapes. See, like that. So you can do different patterns and whatnot. Another thing I'd like to see, if I put 2 fingers here, I can then do like degree measurements. So it snaps to different degrees by like, I think 15 or 10 degree increments there. One of the features I think they should copy from the VWoods here is like, let's say if you do a rough rectangle, and then you see that's more of like a parallelogram. If I tap 2 fingers, it'll actually square it off and make it a perfect shape. So same thing with a square. Now 2, and then it's perfect square. The same thing can be done for triangles. So let's say I do like this. And then you can see this line is not perfectly straight. It's kind of going outwards, but if I tap here, it snaps to a right triangle. And so that's a feature I think they should implement as well, that the VWoods kind of came out of nowhere and nailed. And you can also make arrows like that if you tap. Perfect arrows, which is a neat feature as well. And then I think one other thing they should also look at implementing is, now that the reMarkable Paper Pro has color, is like, this magenta marker here. If I could tap and fill, that would be awesome, because right now you still have to manually fill the whole thing. And that's something that Books has, and it is just like a nice feature for shape filling and for kind of creativity on the device. So, I mean, it's nice that we have shapes, but I still think there's some things they can improve. This is in beta now. Maybe for the next release or a future release, we could see more updates on that. It's great to see reMarkable do that, because that's something that the Manta here, for example, and the Supernote platform is now behind on. I believe they are working on shapes too, but they're almost like one of the last in the game to come out with this. They haven't had it on this or the Nomad or any of their devices. So great to see that from reMarkable. and the color selection tool here. So let's say I did a parallelogram. You can see it all snapped there. Or I could do a square. Let's do a blue. And then let's do like a circle around this. So just pretty cool in general, and I think this is going to make like drawing on this a lot more fun and just creating notes that are a little cleaner looking too. Now, one other update, I think in 3.16 that was actually pretty cool was here. So for example, if you do the selection tool and you just hold like this, you now can select everything below, which is super useful instead of having to, sometimes if things are close and having to like manually select it out. Just having that option, everything below, is incredibly useful, and that's a new feature set as well. Another one is in the settings here. For the battery, you can actually set this to be like 1 hour. So when it goes idle, so for example, if I'm on a note and then it idles off after a bit, this note will still show for an hour, which is awesome because that's one of the advantages of e-ink. It's bistable. And so basically what that means is that when the display is off, the pixels that are there are still showing, but they're not using any battery. So really cool to see that. So here you can see you can enable shapes too in the PDF settings. But another option is the contrast filter. So it's now adaptive, and the adaptive, basically what it does is it makes text a little bit more clear while making the image still good. Initially, you kind of had to choose with the contrast filter of like whether you want the text to pop or if you want the image to pop. Now it kind of is smart enough to detect that, and it can do both at the same time. So that's a pretty cool feature to see in general. So that's nice for specific text and just having the colors still pop a little bit more in general. This should be rolling out soon, like I said, and I believe one of the last big updates is like for PDF settings. In the templates, you can kind of go back to blanks as well, which is nice if you're doing custom templates. So my RM2 should be updated now. You can see here the shapes. This is a little nod to the guy that did it, the Reddit user. Your everyday circle drawings look really good, but would you like to get them perfectly round? Specifically, they're talking to him, but obviously including the whole user base. And this day 46 here is also a reference to the amount of days he uploaded. So the standby option, and then you see duplicate PDFs either with the edits and note pages you've added or without. So it really makes the clean copies of PDF templates very cool. Something I plan to make is some templates for the reMarkable platform soon. And you see those updated from the Paper Pro. But let's try a right triangle. You can see there. I'll be putting out my review of the Paper Pro for like a long-term review soon, so you can check that out if you want. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.